Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Left Wing Propaganda Podcast.
Well, I woke up this morning with a head full of poison and a sneaking suspicion that the end is coming soon. So I pulled back the curtains and I looked out the window, only to discover that my fears are coming true. Yeah, it's true. Now we're standing at the end of the world, my friend, and there's nothing we can do about it now. Yeah, we're standing at the end of the world, my friend. Gonna watch it all burn down.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dick Coughlin. This is the Left Wing Propaganda Podcast. This is the podcast in which I sit here, pick a couple of favourite stories from the last few days, last week or so, and briskly go through them and just try to make... Well, I don't even try to make fucking sense anymore. What's the pissing bastard point? Now, last time I did that. Now, when I rebooted this podcast back on January the 1st, I struggled a bit because these podcasts are limited to 45 minutes, and that's partially through a choice of mine to try and keep it a bit concise so I can get podcasts out more regularly. However, I sort of lost track of the time, and the first podcast I did kind of cut off just as I was about to say something borderline relevant, and I thought that would be in the and I didn't realise that, and it doesn't matter, and you'll never know what the fuck it was. But anyway, this podcast is available on all your podcast platforms. It's also it will also be uploaded to my YouTube channels. They are Brother Neuro on YouTube, and if you enjoy these podcasts and you'd like to, and my YouTube content and any other content that I produce, please feel free to support me on Patreon. It would be very, very much appreciated. Or you can make a donation via PayPal. Other than that, let's crack on, shall we? Now, with my last video, I did a couple of bits and pieces where I read out some funny letters and complaints that people send in, that whinging old boomers send in to newspapers. Still, they actually write, and send in the post. I get some, hopefully. This will be a recurring segment, because this is a message I was sent. Actually, to be fair, this wasn't sent in response to the last podcast I did, because you see, the thing is, I've got 4 Facebook accounts, because they keep banning me, so I have to keep starting a new one. So I've got 4, and the good thing about that is it now means that if anyone wants to send me any hate mail via Facebook, it means that they have to, they don't know which one I'm actually on, and so there's only a 1 in 4 chance they'll pick the right one, which means 75% of it doesn't come through. But I received this bit of constructive criticism from a guy called Steve McGill. I'm not censoring his name. I'm not protecting his identity. Fuck this guy. I hope he gets his ass destroyed by a shire horse. He sent me this message. Are you the same dick? How appropriate! Parentheses, exclamation mark. Coughlin, that works tirelessly to defame, damage, and destroy the West and Western values with your endless attacks on decency and common sense. And I replied, yes, the very same. Are you the random fat racist fucknugget on the internet who hasn't had an erection or a shag since the Reagan administration? He never got back to me. Obviously, I blocked him at this point. I do like the one thing though, the fact he calls me Dick, and then he goes, I see you're a dick. Oh, Dick, are you? Right now, I just want to point this out to anyone out there who wants to send me any hate mail. Could you please make a bit of an effort? I know what my name is, right? My name is, I call myself Dick, right? I am well aware of the connection between my name, Dick, and the kind of the sort of colloquialized slang expression that we have for the male genitalia, also known as the penis, right? I know that. I'm aware of that. That's what it is. It's partially done on purpose. Dick is more, but I love the way people like you say dick. Oh, how appropriate! Like as if I haven't worked. Gone. Hold on, I'm not going to be offended I'm not going to be offended by almost anything you do, but I'm certainly not going to be offended by you calling me by my name, right? I work tirelessly. I thought people like me didn't work at all. To defame, damage and destroy the West. Yes, that's what I'm against. The West. Right? That's one thing I've learned is, I just want to destroy that. I don't want there to be, I want there to be a north, south and an east. Fuck the West. Right? There's going to be none of that. Right? But thanks for that one. Yeah. I do work tirelessly, which and I know where that guy came from. He's just another one of the many hundreds of thousands of what I have called Tomminists or Tommy Robinson fans, Tommynards, Tomminists, Tommylist, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't really matter. He's just one of the many hundreds of thousands of thumbless amoeba-brained byproducts of animal buggery who send me, shit, on an almost bi-hourly basis. But and the reason I mention that, normally I would have just carried on, but Tommy Robinson, there was a story that I just want to share with you because it's great. Because one thing, many decades ago, back into, I had when I was a bit more fragile and a little bit new to the internet, I made the mistake of having a bit of an emotional breakdown on camera, and I've never heard the end of it. Well, there's a TV program. I don't know if it's been out already, but it's Ross Kemp, aka Grant Mitchell from EastEnders, who's a British actor, I suppose you could call him. It's a documentary. He went to Belmarsh and he visited Tommy Robinson, and he talks to Tommy, and Tommy breaks down and weeps on camera. Yes, big hard Tommy. Yes, big alpha male, that Tommy. He blubs on camera. So there we are. That's something me and Tommy have got in common. We've both cried like little tiny girls on camera. There you go. And I'm going to find the documentary. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to take the clip of him crying, and I'm going to I'm going to put it on a hard drive, right? Put it in a lockbox. I'm going to add the video to my pornography playlist, and I'm going to laugh and wank myself silly to it. Is that okay with you? Right? Now, tenuous link to the next story. Now, this is a story I don't like having to cover, because I kind of have to sort of tangentially defend the Tory party. Now, this is from a couple of weeks ago, but basically, Britain First, who are still trying, bless them, right? They still think they're a thing. It's adorable, right? Britain First, they don't seem to have realised that they pretty much were dead. They were dead and buried, the day that guy murdered that woman, that politician, while screaming the name of their organisation, and then was photographed at their rallies. That was kind of the end for them. Not that it wouldn't have happened sooner or later anyway, but with about a week after the Tories got into power, Paul Golding it's basically claimed. First of all, he came out and said that who was leader of Britain First. And he came out and said that he had applied to be a member of the Conservative Party. The Conservatives, to their credit, have since said that his application has been rejected, which is something, at least. It's not much, but it's something. But then they've tried. They then came out with this story, and the reason I normally wouldn't bring this up, but it's quite disconcerting to see how many people are using this without they're just sort of taking this at face value, and they're using it to sort of, without sort of thinking this through. Basically, Paul Golding and that Jada Wassertits, as the other woman, came out and basically said that over the course of the last couple of weeks since the election, 5,000 Britain First members have joined the Tory party. Now, and lots of people have used this as a way of going after the Tory party, and I think that's wrong, because there's a problem. There's several problems with this. Number one, the only source for this claim is Paul Golding, leader of Britain First. Secondly, the idea that Britain First has 5,000 members, most of their rallies could have been done on a fucking unicycle, right? The idea that they've got 5,000 members is laughable. That they don't. And the idea that he knows that they would all join it. I mean, how would he know that 5,000 people? I mean, 5,000 people can claim it. Now, you could argue this is their attempt to try and infiltrate and sort of like gain influence, but that's kind of the thing. Britain First, that would make sense if Britain First had that many people to infiltrate the Tories, but they don't. What you've got to understand is, over the course of the last, since Britain First came about, Paul Golding and the other one, the woman one, they basically have been arrested and more times than you care to fucking remember. Like, you could turn it into a trading card series, the amount of times they've been nicked. And what I suspect this is their attempt to try and, to try and make the Tory party think that 5,000 people have joined, so that they might go. So that they're going to go, hold on, 5,000 Britain First members have joined. I suppose we better go a bit easy on old Paul Golding next time he stands outside a mosque and throws a fucking dead pig's head into the fucking entrance. Or something like that. That's what it is. But there's no way, I guarantee you. So please don't go around sharing this as if there's any fucking validity. I know it would be convenient, and but it's not true, and that's a good thing, right? And I don't think the Tories are going to go for it. The last thing they need to be attached to is fucking, they don't need to be attached to Paul Golding. Not that they, not that they wouldn't under other circumstances. If Paul Golding was a bit more fucking subtle, then they would probably go for that. But probably I would say in the last week, the story that has been all over the frigging place has been Prince Harry and Meghan. Now, I'm not a royalist. To be honest, I'm not in fact. The idea of an hereditary monarchy in this day and age, or even just not even this day and age. You can go back a couple of day and ages. Is kind of, but to be honest, it's kind of difficult to get so too worked up about it. I mean, at this stage, my attitude to the royal family is indifference at best. Is there are other things to get out the pissing way. But if you're not a royalist, then you've got your royal. The anti-royalists, the Republicans, those of you who are against the monarchy, right? Even you have got. I don't care how much you don't like it. You've got to admit, right? And don't say you haven't. That you've got to love Prince Harry, and I do love Prince Harry. Do you know why? Because everything he fucking does pisses off and winds up every fucking, every Brexiteer Daily Mail reading fucking whinging right-wing boomer twat out there. And it's not, and unlike them, unlike the right, who basically set out to deliberately wind up people on the other side, he doesn't try. He just is what he is, right? It's quite remarkable when you think about it, and what he's done now is something that's actually quite fucking, that is actually quite impressive, because he doesn't have to do it. He's a member of the royal family, and if he fulfills his royal duties, he gets, it's the royal family, their wages, if you want to call it, are paid for by us, and he said he doesn't want to do that anymore. He wants to quit. He's had enough. And he wants to, he doesn't want to take the taxpayers' money anymore. He doesn't want to be part. He doesn't want to do his royal duties, and he wants to basically, bugger off with his hot, dusky young wife, and their kid, and sort of like share their time between living in North America. I think it's Canada and coming back to Britain, and basically, as he said, be financially independent, and and use the the privilege and influence and the sort of his status to try and sort of like do things like community outreach and raising awareness and set up charitable organisations and shit like that and you can't. I mean, he doesn't have to do. That's quite a big fucking deal, for him to just say that. I mean, it's quite. Anyone out there who's defied their parents, well, this guy's defying the fucking country, and people are out. And part of the reason is, that the right wing media, treats. This is a guy, and I'm looking at Prince. Try not to look at him as a member of the royal family, which again ain't his fault, But look at him as a human being. This is a guy who, when he was a young lad, his mother was effectively murdered by the paparazzi press, who were obsessed with every little fucking thing she did. And the same thing has been happening to Meghan Markle, but not in the same way that to his. It's much more sinister and it's much more unpleasant. And most of it is largely based on the fact that she's not white, and it's why you can only explain. Just go to the Daily Express or the Daily Mail website. Just Google. Just type in Meghan Markle into the search and see that, and look at the comments, and just look at the way they and it's 100 times worse than any other female member of the royal family has had to put up with. More probably I would say more so than Diana, certainly more than Sarah, certainly more than Fergie, and given I think we were a bit harsh on Sarah Ferguson, given what her husband was up to at the time, while we were obsessed with her getting her toes sucked in on the beach by an accountant, and he doesn't want to, he just doesn't want that anymore, and who can fucking blame him? So he's saying fuck you, and of course, but what pisses me off about this is it's just I honestly don't know, whether the Queen or anyone else truly gives a fucking shit. Because you got to understand this. One of the bullshit fucking aspects of journalism is the job of they're called royal correspondents. Now you got to understand, royal correspondents, they're not fucking. These people don't fucking live with the royal family. These are just people who hang around and listen for shit. It's not like it's not like any other sort of correspondent. It's not like Kate Adie, or people who are war correspondents who are in the fucking war zone. It ain't shit like that. And to give you some idea, now, obviously, because Prince Harry has decided he wants to quit the royal family and go fuck you and go love you bye, and then fuck off to Canada and away from the British press. Because of that, Meghan Markle is obviously being blamed for this. She's the Yoko Ono of the royal family, which is quite remarkable when you consider how many fucked up, when you consider some of the fucked up people who have been members of the royal family. This is a royal family that includes Prince Andrew, right, the Duke of Edinburgh, right, just as a starter, right. But to give you some example, this is a story that was in the Daily Mail around about the time. This is the headline, right? Manipulative Meghan knew Harry needed a strong woman in his life after Diana's death. But bearing in mind, Princess Diana died in like fucking 1996, right? Like 25 fucking years ago. When I'm pretty sure Meghan Markle had no idea who, She knew Prince Harry needed a strong woman in his life after Diana's death and exerted control by capitalising on events. Yes, Meghan Markle capitalised on on Prince Harry's mother dying 25 years after it happened. Do you know what the word capitalising means? That hit his self-esteem, writes psychologist. Now, this is the fucking bit here. Psychologist Jo Hemmings. And this is a woman called Jo Hemmings. I know it's a woman because it's Jo. Now, here's the thing about Jo Hemmings. Is it says psychologist. But on every single thing where I've found with this Jo Hemmings, she's just called Jo Hemmings. She's not called Dr. Jo Hemmings. And underneath the headline is it actually says by Jo Hemmings, and then it's got her profession. And I just want you to listen to this. This is someone's job, right? This is a job that this woman thinks this is an actual thing, right? Written by Jo Hemmings, celebrity psychologist, right? Now, she's not doctored. I personally think she would have to be, if she's a qualified psychologist, she would. Who is a celebrity? What the fuck does that even mean? And what educational institution is doing degrees in celebrity psychology? And can we defund it immediately? Because that isn't a thing. You can't be a celebrity psychologist, right? Now, this woman's not. This woman's. She might as well be listening to Mystic fucking Meg. This woman's she's claiming to be a pissing mind reader. Celebrity fucking psychologist. Imagine telling people that was your job. I'd be ashamed of that. I'd rather be. I'm a fluffer in animal pornography. I'd be anything other than a fucking celebrity psychologist. Right? And can we stop? I keep seeing people posting this online or saying this, that this whole Meghan Markle thing and Prince Harry thing is a diversion. Don't you hate it when people, this is just a distraction as if there's not a million stories happening all at the same time. This is a distraction from the whole thing about Prince Andrew. And I'm like, distraction from what? Like, Prince Andrew buried himself, back in December on BBC Two for an hour in an interview that he wanted to do. He didn't have to, the dopey cunt, but he fucking did. Right now, I'm sorry, there's nothing more to talk about. What do you mean we're not talking about Prince Andrew? What do you want us to talk about? Yes, he's a knobhead and a pedo and a terrible liar. What more do you want us to do? There's nothing else beyond that, really, is there? However, there is also a Labour leadership going on, and in tying in with the whole thing with the monarchy, one of the candidates, a guy called Clive Lewis, who hasn't got a hope in hell, he called for a referendum on abolishing the monarchy. Now, he backtracked on this and saying he didn't mean abolish the monarchy, which, to be fair, is fucking ludicrous. He just mean he basically was scaling it down a bit, just taking it, that's it, because he was sort of taking advantage of. He sort of saw Prince Harry's idea and like, well, let's just accentuate that. I mean, Prince Andrew's been fired. Prince Harry's fucking off. I mean, I think this is what's there going to be left, I think that's good, and once people see, it's going to be like the Westboro Baptist Church. Once people see Prince Harry's going to fucked off, they're going to think, well, bollocks to this, I'm going too, because you can't stop him. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Fucking chop his head off? It's it says a lot about this country that the thing that has offended, Prince Harry is a guy who once went to a fucking fancy dress party back in 2007. dressed as a Nazi, right, in a Nazi uniform, right, and that was all, and who'd have thought that, just about 13 years later, not only would that be the second most offensive and shocking thing he's ever done, but the thing that tops it was marrying a woman, a woman of mixed ethnic background, and deciding he doesn't want to take taxpayers' money anymore and go get a proper job, right? I mean, that's it, innit? That sums us up, doesn't it? Nazi uniform, we laugh that off. Marrying a black woman and not wanting to be a prince anymore, well, that's too far, Matt, that is. But the Labour leadership, he suggested abolishing the monarchy. Well, I was against any referendum ever happening ever again for anything ever. After Brexit, I've had enough. I don't want us to be asked for anything. Our opinion, fucking stop it. It's not. Don't stop asking us fucking questions, right? But I've had an idea. But I'll be for this. But there's three options. Number one, abolish the monarchy. Number two, don't abolish the monarchy. Number three, abolish the monarchy with the exception of King Harry and Queen Meghan. And who will be king and queen for life, for eternity, like Kim Jong Un and Kim Jong Il and Kim, and that lot. Not because that's what I want there, but just because it'll just fucking wind up Nigel Farage. It'll just piss off Jacob Rees-Mogg. It'll fuck off, Richard Littlejohn and the Daily Express and all them cunts. That's it. Yes, I know it's pathetic and it's immature and it's what they do, but that's what I've been fucking reduced to, people. This is the level I've been brought down to. And it is bizarre. If you want an example of the bizarro world we fucking live in, right? Richard Spencer has started posting, extremely woke tweets, right? Now, obviously, it's still Richard Spencer. He's still Richard Spencer, right? But following Donald Trump's announcement that he's about Iran, that he's assassinating that geezer who Salami guy, yeah. Richard Spencer tweeted, "I deeply regret voting for and promoting Donald Trump in 2016. And believe it or not, Richard, any other person that would be necessary, but that's you, because it's you. Voting and promoting Donald Trump is one of the least things you've got to apologise for, and that you should regret. There are so many other things, right? But then he starts having a pop at Paul Joseph Watson, because people start pointing out that Donald Trump's threatening war crimes over Twitter. So, and Paul Joseph Watson, whose head is shoved right royally up Donald Trump's arse, basically responded with, "Oh, lol, it's just a tweet, bro." And Richard Spencer made a very interesting point. He made a very solid point. He said, the "it's just a tweet, bro," demonstrates how unserious Paul Joseph Watson is about his work. Note that if some blue-haired SJW with zero political power tweets about destroying male privilege, he'll go on about the totalitarian left. However, with Trump, who clearly has the ability to enact his threats, it's just a tweet, bro. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever sit here and read, and be like, yes, this is what loads of us have been saying for fucking ages. Now, obviously, again, I'm not saying there's hope for Richard Spencer. No, just don't. But it's just funny, right? It's certainly much more, it's much more, certainly the discourse and the dialogue he's having. I mean, he's not swearing or being abusive, which is quite something, because this is just incredible. This is a story that just, again, it's one of these stories that in any other point in history, any other, any other generation, any other decade, any other political, zeitgeist, throughout history. This would have been enough. You know, do you remember when Obama got like fucking rinsed out for months because he fucking wore a slightly light brown suit, you know, or when he fucking saluted with a coffee in his fucking hand, you know, and this was basically him, you know, wiping the smeg out from the under ridge of his dick with the Constitution, right? This is a thing that genuinely happened. Right? The Iranian president called Donald Trump, the president of the United States, retarded. Now, please don't kick off about, you know, the fact that he used that word, because there's no point in cancelling the Iranian president. I don't think he follows, you know, BreadTube or left wing Twitter. But that's the president of Iran talking about the president of the United States as, I mean, and that just was like nothing. It barely got reported on. Can you imagine if anyone name your fuck? Can you imagine if, you know, the Ayatollah or fucking Saddam Hussein or, you know, or anyone? Imagine if Kim Jong Un or anyone, any minor fucking tiny little. Imagine if some irrelevant fucking, you know, Tin Pot dictator prick somewhere in some you know, war-torn, you know, vanquished shithole referred to Barack Obama as a spacky shit muncher. Fox News would have lost their shit. But as it is, nothing. Now I'm going to finish off with this story, folks, because this is just a beautiful story in so many ways. And particularly now, if you're someone who is a member of the LGBTQI, is that all of them now? Yeah, okay, right. Is that, you know, plus or whatever, you know, a smiley face, exclamation mark community. You're gonna love this, and particularly if you're one who has experienced any sort of like the Christian, the love and warmth from the Christian community. This is a story. Christian schoolgirl expelled for wearing rainbow sweater and eating rainbow cake. Now, I just want to make it clear: eating rainbow cake is not a euphemism for, you know. But I really do think that it should be from now on. Can we say that? You know, can we just to the L part of the to all of the those, can we please start trying to make this part of the general lexicon? You know, eating rainbow cake. You know, I don't know what wearing a rainbow sweater is, and to be honest, I'm not even sure I want to know. But let me read you this story. A Christian school. This is in America, obviously, and it will come as no surprise. It's in Kentucky. A Christian school expelled a 15-year-old girl for celebrating her birthday with a rainbow cake while wearing a rainbow sweater. Kimberly Alford said her daughter, Kayla Kenny, was a first-year student at Whitfield Academy, Louisville, Kentucky, but that changed after a social media post. Kayla celebrated her 15th birthday in late December at a Texas Roadhouse restaurant with her friends. In the photo, she is smiling just after blowing out the candles on the colourful cake. Again, try to keep your mind out of the gutter, people. On January the 6th, Kimberly Alford, Kayla's mother, received an email from the head of Whitfield Academy, Dr. Bruce Jacobson, who explained that her daughter was being expelled immediately due to a post on social media. Now, bearing in mind, her birthday was December the 15th. This is January the 6th. The school claims that the photo, now this is the key part, right? The school claims the photo, which it interpreted as supportive of the LGBT pride movement. Because that's the important thing here. This girl hasn't been expelled for supporting the LGBT community. She hasn't been suspended. That rainbow cake and the rainbow sweater was not her showing solidarity and support for, the gay rights movement or the LGBT community. She just likes fucking rainbows, right? She just likes colourful rainbows. That's it. But this school has now gone to the next level. Now, not only can you not be gay, but now they're suspicious of all rainbows, which is kind of difficult considering I believe that a rainbow does contain the entire colour spectrum. So grey is the only you have to all be grey from now on. The school claims the photo, which it interpreted as supportive of the LGBT pride movement, is just the final straw after years of Kayla's, get this, quote, lifestyle violations. Now, the article doesn't expand on that, but I wish it did. Jacobson wrote in the email that the picture, listen to this, the picture demonstrates, quote, a posture of morality and cultural acceptance, contrary to that of Whitfield Academy's beliefs. Right. She's being expelled for demonstrating and for demonstrating too much cultural acceptance. She's too accepting. Now, I personally, like some of you probably think, surely this cannot be legal, but it's a private school, and the private school's code of conduct apparently does have a section that focuses on sexual orientation and says that a student can be disciplined for off-campus behaviour. Right? But this is the best bit, and this is a quote from... Now, the young girl, I do feel bad for because she's only a teenager. She's only 15. She doesn't. She's probably not. If anything, I hope she does grow up to eat the rainbow cake quite a lot. I hope she takes a vested interest in it in every way possible, and I hope she petrol bombs this school down to the ground. But this is a quote. Because the mother, like the mother denied this. She was like, she's not gay. She's not supporting. We hate gays as much as you. She was completely trying to distance it. She'd make it clear. Look, this isn't a. She just likes fucking rainbows. That's it. She just likes rainbows, right? She's a big fan of 1980s British, children's television. She's got a Zippy George and Bungle tattoo on her fucking back. But this is what Kimberly Alford, Kayla's mother, said. She said, I just feel like it's a label that school officials have put on her. Just because she's wearing a rainbow doesn't mean she's gay. I feel judged. She feels judged. It's just very devastating for us. Isn't it just, Mrs. Alford? Isn't it horrible when people look at you and based on one thing, one silly, one irrelevant thing, one thing that is, one aspect of your personality, your character, one aspect of just you, just based on that, they judge you and make and they punish you and they socially ostracize you and treat you like shit. Not nice, is it? And that, my friends, is your moment of zen. That is the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please follow the podcast on Spreaker, iTunes, Google, all the other fucking diddly shit. Please follow me on YouTube. And again, if you enjoy these podcasts and you enjoy my YouTube content, please support me on Patreon or make a donation via PayPal. My name is Dick Coughlin, This has been the Left Wing Propaganda Podcast. Good night. May God be less, and where there's no sense, there's no feeling.
Well, I woke up this morning with a head full of poison and a sneaking suspicion that the end is coming soon. So I pulled back the curtains and I looked out the window, only to discover that my fears are coming true. Yeah, it's true.
And we're standing at the end of the world, my friend, and there's nothing we can do about it now. And we're standing at the end of the world, my friend. Oh, gonna watch it all burn down.